dog now?
Her name's Joyce. She's a German Shepherd.
And is she great?
Yeah, she's a great guide. Yeah, she does like to get from A to B faster than the speed of light, which is good. But yeah, she's a really good guide.
Because they're all different, aren't they? The guide dogs that you described, they're all different from one another.
Yeah. I mean, Henry was brilliant. He was my first dog, and we travelled up to London every day, 2.5 hour journey each way. And then Quando, who was a collie cross retriever, he was as near perfect as you could get. He was just an awesome dog, he really, I still miss him. And then Joy came along.
And we will talk about your son Thomas after you managed to squish in another Freddie Mercury track here. This is Freddie Mercury and Montserrat Caballé with Barcelona. Now, this became the anthem of the 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you say Barcelona or Barcelona?
I say Barcelona.
Okay. So this will be a meaningful track for you for that reason?
Oh, very, yeah. I mean, they were probably the best games to date. Seoul were really great. We had the same stadia, but not the same village. And for the first time, Barcelona, we had the same stadia, the same village, and it was just incredible. There were my last race, the 800 metres, there were 80,000 people in the stadium. And when we were waiting at the mouth of the tunnel, I could hear the race before us. I could hear where the athletes were on the track. It was like a Mexican wave going around. It was just rippling around. And I finished the 800 metres, won the silver medal. And then we were at the top of the hill walking down towards the town from the stadium with my friends. And at that moment, the dancing fountains, which were famous. I don't know how many people in New Zealand would remember them, but the dancing fountains and the theme from the Olympics, the Barcelona theme with Freddie Mercury singing came on it, and it was just a stupendous atmosphere, feeling. The food, the beer that we had after, just nothing tasted better. It's just incredible.
So your son Thomas is how old now?
23 months.
You have decided not to get him tested to see if he could develop retinitis pigmentosa?
There's a 50-50 chance whether any child that I have inherits the
Is it usually
gene.
Boys?
No. My father inherited it from his mother.
So no gender difference at all?
No, it's just a 50-50 chance. I've got two sisters who are fully sighted.
Right.
But yeah, he's had two eye examinations, but at the moment there's no sign of early onset, and he does seem to be able to see in the dark, so he does seem to have seem to be fine.
Mind you, you were seen to be fine at that age as well.
Yeah, although my mum did say that my movements weren't that precise in poor light.
Yeah. If before birth it had been shown that he could develop retinitis pigmentosa, what would have happened then?
Nothing would have changed.
Right.
Would have still had him. And I mean, to be honest, I don't really see blindness as a huge problem, a huge disability. And disability is what you make it. And I think that had Thomas inherited it, I think I would like to think that I would have inspired him and been a great role model and shown him that anything that he wants to do is doable. Yeah. So.
I wonder, this is one of those unanswerable questions, I suppose, but whether it's easier to have had sight and then to lose it, or to have been born blind and never know what you're missing. What do you think?
Definitely the former. Certainly in my case, I know what things look like. I can visualise colour. My wife Sarah's an interior designer, one of the top interior designers in New Zealand, and she's all about colour. And I think it's quite important that I can visualise colour and visualise what she's talking about when she tells me about the homes that she's designed. And I think she has learned. It's a bit of a paradox, I suppose, someone so visual being with someone so blind. But
yes,
she's learned a lot about texture and depth of colour, I suppose. And I learned more about the visual world, I suppose, as well.
Sarah is your second wife.
That's right.
Kath to whom you were married for, 10 years?
9 years, yeah.
She died.
Yeah.
Of a blockage in the brain?
Yeah. It's basically... there was basically something that caused a blockage in the third ventricle and centre of the brain, and then the pressure built up, and the basal nerve, the nerve that makes you breathe automatically, was shut off, and she just passed out and never regained consciousness. And that happened overnight, which
just shocking.
It was, it was a curveball, I suppose. It was the hardest thing that's ever happened to me, the hardest obstacle I've had to face. Losing my sight was a stroll in the park in comparison. But, it's not what you do, it's what you do about it. And, after a while, I realised that I, had to make a choice in the same way that I did when I lost my sight. Do I stop and feel sorry for myself and let the world go by, or do I go out and do stuff with my life? And I never take the easy option, and I decided to get on with things, to go out running again. And running was a fantastic solace for me. And on my training runs with my mates, and my guide runners have become my best mates. We talked about cafe.
Well, that's
all
fortunate,
the time.
Isn't it? Because it wouldn't do you much good not to be friendly with the chap who's got you on the end of that string.
Yeah, it'd be quite difficult. I mean, there was one occasion that a guy bumped me into a fence, a lamppost, and I fell off a curb. And maybe he didn't like me, or maybe it was just a rubbish guide. I don't know, but I didn't run with him again. So yeah, that goes back to the thing about trusting your guides. You've got to know you can trust them. But running has been such an important part of my life. Obviously, I've been an international for 25 years running for Great Britain, and it really helped me through the trauma of losing Kath, and gave me a goal to aim at. Athens 2004 became my vehicle, something to aim at, and I got over the first 10 months, and just started to rebuild my life.
You didn't win a medal at Athens.
I didn't, no.
Which would have been a blow to you.
It was a disappointment, actually, and it's something I still think about now. If I'd have just got my head together a bit more, but that's what happens. You can't carry on winning medals all the time. I never take competition for granted. I'm never complacent. I always expect that there's going to be someone out there to beat me, and I did think I might win a medal, but the most important thing was for me to honour Kath, and I think I did that.
You've done a massage course as well. Do you still do massage?
Yeah, I'm a sports massage,
which is a brilliant job for a person with no sight, is it not?
It is, yeah. I mean, I've obviously got a very developed, very good sense of touch, and I can, find the knots.
I know this because I watch Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, well, my massage is very professional, and I think I've helped a lot of people preparing for the Auckland and New York marathons. And, but my main what I'm really I do mostly is motivational speaking, and I've travelled up and down the country to an extent doing that. I've been to Christchurch and Taupo, but I'm hoping that the motivational speaking will enable me to see much more of this beautiful country I'm now living in.
Blind Ambition was a TV drama, I think, with Robson Green, that was inspired by you, wasn't it?
Yeah, the writer saw me winning the 3 golds in Seoul, and that gave him the idea for the story. And it's about a guy who is a decent runner, then he has a crash, loses his eyesight, and makes it to Seoul.
One of the comments you make is that who gave them the ludicrous idea